bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, what's good? Happy Hump Day. Good afternoon and welcome. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, 100.7 The Score mobile app, TSportsNetwork.com, and on television, Fox 34 News Now, YouTube, Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV. A lot of ways to take us in, however you're doing so. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. Alongside Chris Snead, I am Chois Woodman. Lucas White across the way taking care of us. You can also join the conversation if you'd like to. We welcome the thoughts, the comments, the questions, hopes, dreams, whatever you may have. Bring it in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. Take the app anywhere with you. Even listen in if you're out in Cox Creek, Maryland. What is good, Mr. Sneeder? Oh, sorry. Ayo, Sneeder.
What's up?
It's been a little while. I think I've missed you a couple
have.
times.
You've missed
when you've
me,
been in.
and Rob did it. He's Johnny on the spot with that.
Well, Rob is.
And Clint, he's the OG of it.
I think Rob's liked by everybody.
There's a guy on his chat line that doesn't like him at all. I think we've all got that guy. There's a guy right now that just turned his radio off when he heard my voice. It's okay. He'll be back tomorrow.
Maybe.
I mean, he doesn't have to stop listening again until next Wednesday, or is it?
I don't know what next week looks like.
I don't either. I go.
It's summertime, man.
I show up when Jamie sends the thing and says, "You need to come this day."
Get here now.
Are you like that? Are you? Just go to the next thing on your calendar.
I keep a calendar, but yes, I'm usually pretty good about just taking it one day at a time. Yeah.
I am 100%. This morning I got up and I looked at my calendar and I didn't believe it, and so I had to actually make some phone calls this morning. And
Did you overload it or something?
I had an appointment on there that was no longer on there, and so I had to call the originator of that appointment and say, "Is this really not happening today?" and they said, "Yes, they're really not happening, not until June 10th."
There you go.
And I went, "Okay."
We got plenty of stuff to get into for the next 3 hours with Snead. Of course, two big pieces of news coming out yesterday. Brendan Sorsby being denied his request for reinstatement.
We knew that was going to happen.
And this was no surprise to anybody?
No, this was...
it shouldn't be a surprise.
No, it was expected. And
yet the national media and others have kind of freaked out over this.
Well, they're not here and they don't know...
Right. The timeline of all of this, the timeline and the expectation. Here's how I expect things to go with Brendan Sorsby. It's, hey, announcement of what happened. Now, that was shocking. Then... going into rehab, he's completed his 35-day rehab. In that mix, there was a Texas Tech stating that Brendan Sorsby is ineligible, then requesting for reinstatement of eligibility. We expected it to be denied. That happened yesterday. There was also an injunction to gain his eligibility back from the NCAA. That will be on Monday.
Filed by Brendan Sorsby.
By Sorsby,
which is not. This is Texas Tech is now in a support role of their.
Well, Tech is appealing the reinstatement.
They can do that.
Tech's doing.
Brendan
that.
Sorsby can file for an injunction against the NCAA.
Correct.
And his attorney Kessler has a long-standing track record with the NCAA. Winning these cases.
And that's one of his attorneys. He also has the Speaker of the House as part of his counsel, too.
Dustin Burrows.
Yes. So
the Honorable Dustin Burrows, sorry.
So all of that, so that's where we would sit. Monday will be the next big piece of news, whether he gets the injunction or not.
And fully expect that to happen.
I think it will happen initially. And then what we will get after that, my expectation is a settlement.
A settlement, which will probably
between Texas Tech or between Brendan Sorsby and the NCAA that ends up being 4 games.
2 to 3 games.
Okay.
And if you're reading the tea leaves of what's happened, what Texas Tech is saying, you're probably already getting to the point. Just because all this stuff is happening, there's plenty happening in the background.
Oh, sure.
I mean, the NCAA and you think Texas Tech and the NCAA are not communicating right now?
Right.
They're 100% communicating right now. And there's going to be an injunction. There's going to be a settlement. And it could be as few as 2 games and as many as 4 games. And most likely going to settle around at 3 games, which is ironically would be about the same time as
yeah.
And now I think that you're going to probably see Will Hammond.
I think so too.
Earlier in the year than you thought, and maybe Mary. And I say it again. I forget the Tulsa transfer guy's name.
Kirk Francis.
Kirk Francis. I want to call him Jared Freeze all the time.
Did you call him Mary? You just said the word Mary. I don't know what you were going with.
I'm sorry. I've been wanting to call Kirk Francis.
Yeah,
I've been wanting him to call him Jared Freeze. I keep wanting to call him Jared
Who is
Freeze.
Jared Freeze?
There is no person named Jared
okay.
Freeze. I just want to keep calling him Jared Freeze.
I know a Hugh Freeze.
No, I know. Boy, do I know a Hugh Freeze.
I bet you might.
There's a line in Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh.
That I'm not in his league anymore.
You're not in his league anymore, so go for it.
No, I'm not going to say it because I'm still a professional.
Look at you. Taking the high road.
One of these days when I'm not a professional, I'm going to tell you how I would say that.
So you are in the camp of expecting Brendan Sorsby to play at this point?
Yeah, this is all lining out the way it's supposed to line out. And I mean, there is a roadmap for this, and people are panicking, and where was I the other day, and 3 people asked me, what do you think about Sorsby? Is he going to play? Yeah, he's 100% going to play. And I've gone from he's not going to play a down for Tech to I think he's going to play every down for Tech to there's going to be a settlement, and he's probably going to play 9 of the 12 games in the regular season.
That's about where I'm sitting right now. And there's still people that are like, there's no way this. No. If this was 100% in the NCAA's hands, then I believe you would be correct. I don't believe it is 100% in their hands, and they don't have the money to fight in court for a long time.
And yes, they don't have it, and they don't like this Kessler guy. And here's the other thing: if you don't get an injunction in district court, don't think that's the last court you're going to go to.
It will be an appeal.
You're gonna go to a higher court.
It's not the layup it was when Judge Hayes was going to be there.
It's about a 10-foot jumper then. But then and you're working to the point where you're trying to get a half-court shot off if you have to. But it's going to be a layup in the district court.
All right, y'all bring in the comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. One of the first ones I see. No shot he plays. Well. We'll keep receipts if you want us to. We can.
Yeah, 100% he plays.
We'll see. I'm not 100% he'll plays, but I lean that direction. We got headlines for you coming up next. It's the bottom line on 100.7 The Score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is a Wednesday afternoon. Bottom line on 100.7 The Score in the 100.7 The Score app. Chois, Woodman, Chris Snead, yours from the First United Bank studio. Y'all keep your thoughts, comments, questions coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Reaction to the NCAA story we were just talking about. I guess it's not an NCAA story yet. It's a congressional story at this point. Either way. Says, if this becomes federal law and the SEC and Big Ten pull out, wouldn't that be grounds to pull their federal funding, which is probably a greater number overall than their TV rights or athletics?
That's an interesting scenario where who pulls the federal funding, and would be
I don't know.
Would federal funding be tied to NCAA membership. And that becomes is the tail wagging the dog now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like, and generally speaking, I don't want the government meddling in my business, and I don't want the government meddling in my sports. I do think it's necessary at this moment in time. I think the only way you're going to intervene, we've seen times in history of the U.S., and this just gets into history stuff, where monopolies have had to be broken up.
Sure.
Right now,
the railroad monopoly had to be broken up.
You have a monopoly right now in college football, and ESPN is really the ruler of that monopoly. Fox has some, so it's not a true monopoly, but the reality is, who owns all of the postseason revenue? That's ESPN.
ESPN.
So there's the monopoly there.
All but 3 bowl games are controlled by ESPN.
And because they're in pocket with the SEC, just linked at the hip, it causes some major issues.
Yep.
And it also, whether it'll ever be admitted in public, it won't ever be admitted in public or not, it affects the selection process. It affects everything. There is conflict of interest there that goes with the monopoly. So, good.
I was going to say, why do you think ESPN has their talking heads railing against a 16 or 24 team playoff? And it has very little to do with. It has more to do with the fact that, hey, what happens if Boise State gets in there and gets hot for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, Boise State's playing Michigan in the national championship game. What? And you know, they got a taste of that thanks to TCU playing Georgia, and you got an 82-20 rout in a national championship game where everyone's turning the game off in the middle of the second quarter.
And the reality is, you want to get down to the playoff expansion, why ESPN doesn't want it the most. Because right now they own every bit of the postseason revenue. There would be opportunity for more inventory. It's weird to say it that way, but that's what it is. Postseason games out there where Fox could scoop them up. Fox can bid for those extra games that were out there if you go to a 2014 playoff. So Fox wants it. ESPN hates the idea.
Yeah. Well, ESPN, even if they don't have the ability to televise all of those games.
No.
I mean, it comes down to
you have to start stacking them up.
Yeah, and they don't have the ability because, I mean, if you've ever watched a game set up, that's not just something that you just roll into town and plug something in. That's a Parking Power is a 3-day deal.
They do have the ability because 24 teams. That's the deal. Is you can hear every excuse out there possible. 24 teams is not that much different than 16 teams.
It's 12 games the first round.
Well, the difference, 24 would still only be 8 games because just like 16 because you're going to have byes. 24 turns into byes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the same as you sit right now. You would have
you got to have
byes in there.
You got to go into this. These guys, these 8 winners go into these eight bye teams.
Correct.
So you need what you really need to do is you need to sit at 16. Because what you don't want is get players and teams sitting around.
Look, if you can do 1 week of sitting, change the calendar with it, then we're in great shape. But if
you
you're
have to
get rid of
for
a month,
conference championship games.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you really do.
The calendar will work just fine without.
Well, everyone is. It's gone from we got to get this all in one semester. I'm fine with that. I'm good. Then let's have the national championship be on New Year's Day. If New Year's Day is such a sacred national holiday, then let's get the national championship on that day, and let's start working towards that. Which means get rid of the ridiculous conference championship games, which probably do more harm than good when you.
I think
you take. I hate when they say, "Well, you need to have another data point." They use that when they want to exclude somebody. But
it's absolutely if it fits your narrative.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
All that's ever used as. Now, I don't know where we get to for 2027. 16's better than 24. The Big Ten saying
I agree.
I actually think 24 is the best. 16's better than not having anything.
I would like to have 16 because that affords you an 8 versus 8, and you have 8 home sites and 8 visitors.
Look, if you had 16 last year, the Big 12 would have had 3 teams in. You had 1 with 12. You would have had 3 with 16. You would have had 5 with 24.
Well, I would have go for it.
The biggest reason that the SEC is scared, and I use that word 100%, scared of a 24-team playoff. This is the SEC. ESPN, we know why. The SEC is scared of a 24-team playoff because it would narrow the gap. For the conferences that are down at the bottom right now with the Big 12 and the ACC, it would narrow the gap. You would have 5 last year. You would have had 5 Big 12 teams. I'm going off the college football playoff final rankings. 5 Big 12 teams in the playoff, 7 SEC teams. That's way too close. Still, you're still the king, but it's way too close for comfort for the SEC.
Yep.
And that's the reality of it.
And heaven forbid that we let anybody from the group of 6 in.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid. Now, in my heart of hearts, I actually kind of agree with that. I think that the group of 6 should start running their own playoff, because this entire idea that all these teams over here in these 6 conferences are playing for 1 and maybe 2 spots in this field, that's ridiculous. What and who makes this deal? Which person said, it's a pretty good idea right there. We'll all fight for that 1 spot. Yeah. 48 teams out there fighting for a spot in this playoff for the right to go get your butt kicked by Oregon. No, I say no. Let's not do that. Why don't we give these teams their own playoff? And you know what? Hey, Fox, run that. I know it's not as sexy as the other one. But, there's pretty good games, too. You run a playoff game out there in Corvallis, Oregon, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
You run a playoff game out there in Boise, Idaho, probably pretty good.
Which, by the way,
in Tulane, we saw Tulane playoff games, conference championship games, full crowds, everyone's getting excited. Yeah, there was not 100,000 people, it was 30,000 people, but they were all getting after it.
Yeah, by the way, there are plenty of coaches that are in favor in the SEC of a 24-team playoff. There have been some that have been outspoken against, but there are plenty that are in favor of. Sankey says it doesn't matter. We don't need consensus. Now, I've been a big Sankey criticizer just because he's a tyrant in college football. He did do something right yesterday.
Must be doing something
So I got to
right.
give him credit for finally coming around to eliminate the cupcake weekend. What do you call it? Tomato can
week. God, I hated that.
It's gone after 2027.
The only thing that was good about that was that those games got paid the same as when you worked Alabama Auburn. It's the only thing good about it. But what really stunk was when it's if you get a game like that, you just beat an 11 a.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
When you got to go and you got Alabama and Presbyterian at a 6:30 kickoff for TV.
That sounds like a real thing.
Oh. And you got to sit there and it's 35 degrees outside and you're wearing everything you own. And now you got to watch Alabama run up and down the field on this hapless D2 team.
So they have eliminated it. Doesn't mean that these games are going away. It doesn't mean that they won't play Samford, that they won't play, what would you say, Presbyterian?
Western Carolina,
it means
the Catamounts.
It won't happen in November. That they have to play all conference games in November is what was said. So
good. I love it.
The ADs in the SEC voted. I'm giving Greg Sankey credit. It was really the ADs in the SEC that voted it to end the cupcake weekend.
Good.
Yay! You're finally even with the rest of everybody else, SEC, on how you schedule things. But not this year. That's for after this year. It is the bottom line. On we roll to our numero dos on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Happy Hump Day, everyone. It's the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 Score mobile app. Chois, Woodman, Chris Snead, Lucas White with you today. Y'all keep your thoughts and commentary rolling in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll return to a few more of those here in a moment. But first, let's get to a question.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Brought to you by someone not named Jamie and presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
Lucas?
Question of the day is the World Cup starts in a month. Games in Dallas, Houston, Miami, and a few other places here in the United States. The Summer Olympics begin in 2 years here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, which event will have the biggest impact in the United States? The Olympics or the World Cup?
I have
This is a very interesting question, and you go ahead and answer yours. But
I don't. This one I didn't have to give a ton of thought to. I think it's the World Cup, and by quite a bit. I think the Olympics are huge, and it will be well received, loved, all of that. But it's in one location for the most part. There's some stuff going on in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
It's in one location. In LA, the World Cup will be in cities all over America, and there's something that comes with the World Cup. It's soccer culture. There's a lot of the soccer culture that'll be there. That isn't really in America very much. There's some of it here, but I think there will be an impact where you'll see an uptick on soccer leagues. You'll see an uptick on kids wanting to play soccer. And some of this, I think there will be some correlation with the U.S.'s success, too, for the United States. I'm not saying they're going to go win the whole thing or anything close to it, but some correlation. If you get to the
knockout stage,
the knockout stage, then I think there will be some impact from that. But I don't think it's close on this, because the Olympics, there's all these sports we watch once every 4 years. That's not going to change. It's not like there's going to be a whole lot of people get into rowing. There might be a few more, or a whole lot of people get into archery. Again, might be a few more. I think.
You don't think people will get into fencing?
They could.
Into the foils?
They might. But I think you will see an uptick in youth soccer quite a bit and that will be where a lot of the impact is had. Plus, again, the footprint much bigger. There's games in Chicago, in Atlanta, in Arlington. What are they calling it? Dallas Stadium. Have you not seen? They've had to cover up or take down advertisements on all these buildings per FIFA rules.
Because you can't have.
So it won't be AT&T. It won't be Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They've taken stuff off the building for this, or put giant tarps over it.
Well, I mean, those people didn't pay FIFA. I'm with you. I would just say it this way. I think the Olympics will be a bigger thing in the United States. The World Cup will be a bigger thing in the world, and it won't be close. I think the world will pay attention somewhat to Olympics. But the entire, I mean, I think we are arrogant as Americans to think that the world cares about our sports the way that the rest of the world cares about their sport. And by say their sport, football.
Football.
Yeah, they care about that so much more. and I mean, we've had some incidents. But the last time a player from a national team in the United States got unalived for accidentally scoring a goal for his team against an own goal. Yeah, I mean, no one's hunting down Alexi Lawless because he got beat for a goal. Now I know he wasn't the goalie, but he was a midfielder. He's a midfielder. No one's coming after Tony Meola because he allowed goals in the World Cup. But there's the poor cat in Colombia that got unalive because that stuff doesn't happen here.
Escobar, right?
Yeah, the two
Escobars.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember. But stuff like
Really
that
good 30 for 30
does happen in and around the world more than you think. And so I think the level of fan engagement and caring for the World Cup around the world makes it a much bigger deal.
Lucas, you can answer your own question.
I think both of you put it pretty obviously that I think the World Cup will get more attention through in the international market, and then the Olympics, obviously here being in LA, though, will have more of an American appeal to it, and the time. I mean, obviously the time. There won't be any time changes, so you can be able to watch it live instead of watching it like when they were in London or Brazil or all those other places. You spent most of your nighttime watching events, but here in the United States it'll be live, so it'll be easier to watch.
All right, y'all hit us up. The thoughts, the comments, the questions, react to Lucas's question there on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Get back to a few more of your thoughts and comments here shortly. Someone does say, I, for one, am into fencing, Snead.
There's nothing wrong with fencing.
You got your hot wire, barbed, woven wire, wooden, decorative. I like them all.
I have actually sat and watched a
funny.
fencing match in the Olympics because it's one of those things, and I thought it's actually kind of fascinating. But I mean,
I watch all sorts of Olympic sports.
Yeah,
and again, it's a once in 4 years. Type
you know,
of thing.
now in my, when I wrote my first book, the Bleacher Bible, I wrote a follow-up book that didn't get published, but I'm getting ready to do the second book, Bleacher Bible 2, the New Testament, and I'm going to include that in the new book. And I'm going to have to change some thoughts because it's basically it goes through what's a sport and what's not a sport. And I said fencing was not a sport. It's two guys fighting with TV and tennis.
Yeah.
It is not that. It is not that. And now it's going to be a lighthearted book. So I am going to poke fun at fencing and things like that, but I'm not saying it's not a
See
sport.
what you did there.
Yeah.
Poke fun at fencing. No.
I actually didn't even mean to do that.
The real dad joke of the day coming up in about 7 minutes or so.
I guarantee it'll be bad.
You excited?
No, I'm not excited.
You should be.
It's going to be bad. I know
can't
because
guarantee what you
I
don't
know
know.
you actually try to go really, really
You
bad.
can't guarantee what you don't know, Snead.
I know that I'm not going to laugh. I am not going to laugh because it will 100% be not funny. And I only say it's going to be 100 because I can't go 101.
Texter here says Americans will care significantly more about the Olympics.
Yes.
The rest of the world will care significantly more about the World Cup.
Yep.
The same texter says, I do agree with Choice that the World Cup fever typically happens here. I was in high school and for the 2010 and 14 World Cups, and we'd go up to the football field and play soccer those summers in a way we didn't do with Olympic sports, but offer Americans tickets to the Olympics or World Cup, more picking the Olympics. Yeah, I agree with all of that. I do, again, soccer culture is different. It's just different. So football culture. I probably won't be able to afford going to a game in Arlington, but I might venture over to the stadium and hang out outside and see what it's all about.
My sister,
I think the cheapest tickets are like $500. Right?
They are, and my sister and brother-in-law and nephew are going to see Japan and the Netherlands play. And, they've just decided that's what they do, though. They're into soccer. They're into NBA. They make a NBA trip, every year during spring break when Noah was in high school. But, that's their thing. I wouldn't watch any of that in my backyard if they opened the window to watch. But that's not me.
By golly.
So, but they also wouldn't go watch women's softball in Oklahoma City. So I don't criticize them. They don't criticize me. You do you, right?
Something like that.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is that time of day. Time for Tell Me I'm Wrong. He's Snead. I'm Chois. Quickest across the way. Snead, where are you taking us today?
We've been talking a lot about Brendan Sorsby, and people have been worried about the timeline of this whole thing, and we have tried to tell you very much so that, hey guys, this is going to happen quickly, and there's a reason why they said we want an expedited. What do you want? Just a decision from the NCAA. And they said that because our intent is to come back and we're going to sue you guys. We're going to sue you guys into oblivion. And we're not going to sue you. We're just going to file for an injunction. But there could be some suing going on.
Yeah.
Ironically, not ironically, there is an expedited court date, which if I get a petty theft, I got to wait like 6 months for my court date.
That's how this works. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I want to get eligible to play college football, I
can speed the process up.
We're gonna, I just don't understand that. Anyway,
that's how it works.
I know it. It's how it works. Regardless, he has his court date on Monday. Mm-hmm. Within 7 days, this thing is going to be wrapped up, and by Monday, June 8th, Texas Tech is going to know whether they have a quarterback and how many games he's going to be done. Tell me I'm wrong.
The date for the supplemental draft entry is June 22nd. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have a pretty darn good idea by then.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll even be close to that date.
I think, man, June 8th just still feels fast. June 15th, if you would have given me one more week, I would have said yes.
They're gonna wrap this thing. He's gonna walk out of next Monday knowing whether he's gonna get an injunction or not.
I agree with that part, but I don't.
And I think.
But a settlement, I don't know if they're settled on anything by June 8th.
Remember, I think there's conversations going on in the background right now. Because the NCAA knows he's going to get an injunction. We know he's going to get an injunction. And we also know, as correctly as you said, that the NCAA is going to appeal this deal. And so they're probably – it's like when you're watching one of those courtroom drama TV shows and the guys are all talking about, yeah, we're doing this. And it's like, we anticipated that, and here's our writ to do this. And, it's like – and now there's a whole different argument in front of the judge. I think this is all going to be handled very quickly, within 7 days, and by the following Monday, Texas Tech's going to know exactly how many days he's going to be out. I think there's a lot of stuff that's about to go through the motions for show, and they already know.
I mean, over under June 7th, you say,
no,
or June 8th?
June 8th, the following Monday, 7 days from Monday. I'm
going to say you're wrong, but slightly.
Okay.
I think it's that. I would go that week, but not much. So I'm mostly agreeing with you that it's going to be quick, but just still, that's a little too quick. Lucas, sorry.
I know they don't want to do the whole back and forth thing, so they want to get this resolved as soon as possible.
Both sides, yeah.
And let Sorsby get on with his career. So I would say, Snead, you are correct that day, so Monday, the following Monday, they'll have everything resolved, and Sorsby will have the knowledge of what his punishment is and what the next steps for him to be on the field for whether that's Tech or the draft or whatever the case may be. He'll know by the date that you said, by the 8th.
By the 8th, a week from Monday.
Yeah, by the 8th he'll know.
Y'all can agree, disagree. Tell us whatever you think on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. This one says, I mentioned earlier that it took me nearly 2 years to get a divorce and Sorsby just meanders on in and given a court date within a couple of weeks. The court system certainly has no regard for the time of the common man.
Nope.
But again, there are lawyers that are pushing this to go much faster.
Well,
for a reason.
You know,
but I'm not saying your situation's not important, Bobby Hot Dogs, but there's a purpose for this because they have to. He literally has a season that starts. There's a date of June 22nd that he has to know. June 22nd, not July 22nd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is June 22nd for the supplemental draft. They have to expedite it, or I mean, the NCAA, part of the injunction, part of the filing for the injunction that Sorsby's lawyers put was that the NCAA is purposefully dragging their feet on it. Mm-hmm. They're going slow on purpose because they know that he won't be able to play if they just don't make a ruling quick enough.
If we don't rule on this, you can't do anything.
Yep.
And
so you're just ineligible.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and watch this. We're going to say, how about we just do this instead, which is we'll just get an injunction.
Texter here says, I think Sorsby will have to show true remorse to his teammates to get the respect he needs to lead.
That's a whole different instance. What he has to do to get the respect of his teammates, because it's earned, not given, and you have to you just can't walk into a room and demand respect. There's certain things that you have to do and display in order to be a guy that everyone says, yeah, I want to emulate and be like that guy. I want that guy to be my leader. I want that guy to be the guy that leads us over the hill. And
don't disagree,
because anyone can just walk into the room and say, okay, guys, we're going over that hill. If you turn around and there's no one with you, you're just the first guy to die. I mean, that's kind of
it's a little harsh, but
a little harsh, but
I mean, sure. Yeah, I think there's truth to what the texter's saying. He will have to earn that respect back. Mm-hmm. So remorse might be part of it, showing, hey, man, I really screwed up. I'm going to do everything I can to lead this team the right way. But this isn't a case where he was point shaving or anything. There's never been any proof of that. Nothing really even inclining that. But there's still a breaking of rules, and still he's had to be out, but he's spent the spring with his teammates too, so he's already gotten to know a lot of these guys. I have no idea what it's like in that locker room. He's a new face along with several other new faces. He will have to earn some respect back, but I just don't know how much. I think Sorsby will have to show – I just read that one. Will Christian Anderson's decision to stay in the draft cause a problem on his little brother commitment? I don't believe he's committed, right? He's been
offered. Yeah. And, I mean –
Lukai Anderson over at Trinity.
That's going to be interesting because, I mean, they moved here for him to come to Texas Tech. Will they move to the location where Christian is playing?
So Christian has lived in several different places. Atlanta, I think, is where he says he calls home, like when it's announced. But the Hawks are one of those options, so they can move back there. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just depends. Is Dad going to follow there? Is it going to be? I don't know. My guess is they'll split time between the two kids. If Anderson ends up going to Tech or some other school, Lukai Anderson, then I'm guessing they'll go watch some NBA games and they'll go watch some college games.
Sure.
They'll be back and forth. And if Christian Anderson's a first-round draft pick, he'll probably have some money to pay for them to travel. How that works sometimes. Back to the game time announcements. Texas Tech, if you missed it just a little bit ago, the first two games announced. 6 o'clock, Abilene Christian on the opener. First road game, 6:30 at Oregon State. Are we past the concern of Oregon State? Not saying that.
No.
You
should be concerned about Oregon State. I mean, that's a team that's pretty much that's a pretty good team that's got an opportunity to sneak up and get somebody. You hope it's not you. And
last year they weren't that good.
No, they weren't. But they finished okay last year. And this is a team that not that long ago they were playing the Sun Bowl a couple years ago against Notre Dame. Coming off a 10-2 season.
Houston, a team that was 10-3 last year, snuck out of Oregon State, snuck out of Corvallis barely with a win. So the road part is what has me somewhat concerned. It's not a big concern. This is the bottom line. Got most interesting facts of the day next on 100.7 The Score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is time for the most interesting facts of the day, brought to you by Dos Equis, and the most interesting man in the world. Chris Snead, did you happen to know that the Texas Rangers did something last night that hasn't been done in 130 years?
What is that?
Well, part of it's a good stat to be part of, but the other part's not a good stat to be part of. Monday, the Astros got the no-hitter over the Rangers. Yesterday, the Rangers scored 8 runs in the first inning.
Okay.
The Rangers are the first team since 1905 Chicago White Sox to record 8 or more runs in the first inning following a game in which they were no-hit.
So the first team to score 8 runs in the first inning following a game they were no-hit. That's pretty cool.
131 years since that's happened. The White Sox in 1905 did it.
Okay.
Pretty crazy. Not, again, half of it's part of what you don't want to be a part of because, that's not good to get no hit, but good nonetheless that they bounced back in a big way the next day.
Thank goodness.
Snead, did you know the songwriters behind the 1974 hit Take Me to the River earned more royalties from the use of the song by the novelty toy Big Mouth Billy Bass
Take me to the river
than from any other artist who covered the track?
Put me in the water.
Yep. I remember it.
Yeah.
Did you have one?
No.
You never had one of those? I'm shocked. That seems like something you would have had.
At the Alumni Association on Boss's Day, we got together and bought Bill Dean one.
Awesome.
And he loved it.
I remember those things. Those were such a...
They were a hoot.
Those and Chia Pets, they were on the commercials all the time. 90s. Oh, good stuff. Snead, did you know when you look down at your phone, the amount of pressure on your spine is the equivalent of putting a 60-pound weight on your neck? So if you do it an hour a day, that really adds up. It may cause some serious problems for you down the line. Dang it. Got to get that straight now. I have terrible posture. I'm awful.
My
Gotta get better
chiro
with that.
has told me that when I'm old, and I'm already old now.
So I'm going to start just doing this for my phone. Just so
our bodies are going to adapt to that, though.
Probably.
People are going to think you're taking pictures or filming something.
I am.
Our
Lucas is doing things over there. I've got to film him.
Our bodies already do that. I mean, I think today's kids, just the thumbs, their thumb action,
Oh, probably.
Watching my 7-year-old granddaughter, Hallie Ray, work a phone with her thumbs, I was like, she's better with 2 thumbs than I am with my entire hand.
Snead, did you know the post office's unofficial motto about how neither snow nor rain
nor gloom nor dark of night shall keep us from our appointed rounds
will stop the mail actually comes from the Royal Mounted Couriers in ancient Persia around 440 BC. That's where it actually originated.
Yeah. Even the gloom and dark of night?
Snead, did you know Antarctica is the biggest desert on Earth?
Yes, I did know this.
Even though there's no sand, the definition of a desert is a barren area where there's very little rain and poor living conditions for the plants and animals.
Yes, that is.
Makes sense.
Did know that.
And Snead, did you know there's only been one time on Wheel of Fortune where the answer to a puzzle actually was Wheel of Fortune? It happened on April 2nd of 2001. After it was solved, Pat Sajak joked that we've officially run out of puzzles, apparently. That's funny.
That is funny.
Who's doing it now?
Isn't it?
Oh, it's Seacrest, right?
Yeah. Seacrest out. Yeah.
I I stumbled across it. I used to watch Wheel of Fortune a decent amount. I'm an old man.
Do you remember who the guy was before Pat Sajak? It was just for a minute. I think it was, and if I'm lying, I'm dying, but I believe it was Chuck Woolery.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. And I think he left there and went and did Love Connection. And Pat Sajak came on there and became a. Is that right?
I think you're correct on this. Yeah. That's the name that came into my head.
That's the useless knowledge that my brain is filled with.
Salary dispute.
Yeah. And he went over
1981.
And he went over and jumped over to Love Connection and became an icon over there for a little bit. But Pat Sajak.
Oh yeah, much more of an.
Yeah. He got the last laugh.
I'm trying to think of my.
Do you remember the host of Press Your Luck, the original Press Your Luck?
Who was it?
Peter Tamarkin.
Wouldn't have got that.
No,
I remember the show.
Yeah,
because the show, it was Press Your Luck, and then they did another remake called Whammy, and now they've done another Press Your Luck.
Yeah,
no one has original ideas.
I watched the Whammy, but I know what Press Your Luck is.
Yeah, Press Your Luck is the Whammy.
Yeah,
the Whammy is Press Your Luck.
Whammy. Yeah.
I think Press Your Luck was just trademarked, and they said we can't call that. We can call it Whammy.
Whammy.
Big money, no whammies. Big money, no whammies. Stop. Ooh.
It was good. That
show was
top
so
5
bad.
all time.
Is it? That show was so bad.
Top 5 all time game show. Not Whammy, the original Press Your Luck.
The original Press Your Luck with Peter Tamarkin. Where do you go to find these guys? Because these guys all had the same look. They all have that. They got that velvety voice. And they've got the slick back hair, and they've got the great teeth, and they've got the perfect noses.
I actually think you would be a good game show host.
No, that's today's game show.
You could add
host,
that to your website,
but not Sneadopedia.com. And
he's not joking either. It's real.
Hey, you can buy a shirt. Please buy a shirt. Yeah, I could do it today.
I do think you would be. You've got the spunk for it.
Would you do like a music trivia game?
Yeah. I could probably do it. I mean, they've got Nate Bargatze is doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the deal: if you're either on the show as a celebrity guest or you're hosting it, you've officially just punted. You're a B-level celebrity, and for me that would be great because I moved up from an E-level celebrity to a B-level celebrity.
Hey Snead, did you know the oldest known tattoo was found on a Egyptian mummy of a woman who lived around 5,000 years ago?
Probably didn't need that one either.
Snead, did you know the word moron was originally a medical term for a person with the intellect of an 8 to 12-year-old?
I didn't know what it was. I knew that moron was a intellect deal, but I didn't know exactly where. Because moron. I think Nimrod's also in there.
Nimrod's from the Bible,
but I think Nimrod also is in.
I don't think it's a medical term.
I think it is. I think it gets used.
Snead, did you know the technical term for a burp? I got to be careful with this one. Is an eructation. Like, oh man, I just had a really embarrassing eructation. Also, teens are revitalizing malls. Did you realize this? When's the last time you were in the mall?
I stand corrected. Say that again. Nimrod is not a medical term. I'm wrong.
It's a biblical term.
Yeah,
right?
no,
it was a name. It was a name in the Bible. I know that for sure. All right. Teens are revitalizing malls. When's the last time you were in a mall?
Too soon. I went to a movie Saturday night in the mall.
Okay. Now malls are making a comeback thanks to the teens, but the malls are returning the favor by banning them. Some malls and stores inside have been banning shoppers under 18 without an adult chaperone. In some cases, you have to be 21.
I do everything in my human power to avoid going to the mall at any time during a Saturday.
You know what's coming to the South Plains Mall?
I do know this.
Dick's.
Dick's Sporting Goods. Yeah.
I just can't. What you got to do to park and what you got to do to go in there, and then what you got to do to get out of there. Three things I don't want to have in my life.
I like those types of stores because you don't necessarily have to go inside the mall
Yeah.
and go into the Dick's Sporting
You can
Goods or
hang out.
Barnes and Nobles.
But if I want to go buy a candle in the mall somewhere, gosh, jeez,
You can do it.
I don't want to do that. I just don't need it. That's what Amazon's for.
Have a good rest of your day, Snead.
All right.
Bottom line's done. We'll be back tomorrow for a shortened show because we'll have softball tomorrow on the other side of that. No, we won't be back.
Nope, you'll be coming out of
We'll
softball.
have softball on. We'll have the end of the bench tomorrow.
No.
100.7 the score. I don't even know what I'm saying.
You don't.
He's Snead. I'm Choice. It's been the bottom line.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.